Really interesting people's ideas on how to make it. Do you want to cut a paper? Sure.
I brought flyers to volunteer.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. You're good at passing them
Spanish
out.
and English.
Huh? Me too. No, I think you're good. Get more
This is awesome. The smooth out boxes, really nice.
That was a fabulous idea.
Yeah, Carly like went around and said this is it.
Carly is Carly. That the food court is offering boxes. Yeah, I'm going to go once I need to. Somehow in my office, orientation is ordering phenomenal amounts of things. So I'm saying all these boxes are for giving.
There you go. Hi, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. Okay. Yeah, you'll be good.
Because you know what? Yeah, I can talk a lot about it.
Jonathan, do you know how to change the screen to not be
So what do you want it to be?
like gallery? Because right now, if someone turns on their camera, it's just their face.
This is us.
Okay.
This is us? Oh yeah, that's her. Oh, because there is something for the charity that they volunteer. So I have a meeting to meet the city, and she suggested them,
Yeah.
to volunteer.
That's fantastic.
It's like a line of people standing outside. Yeah.
For everyone on Zoom, we're going to start in just a minute. People are just gathering some moving boxes. Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, I hope yourself. Yeah, of course. And then there's some snacks on the table in here. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Carly, let's go get that.
Maybe we should get the boxes out at the end.
Or put them on.
Yeah. Yeah. Live and learn.
That's what like RHA used to do.
Yeah.
Everything. They would have like the free goodie.
At the end. Yeah.
It would be frustrating for me.
You know, I have to tell you when I went and told all my colleagues that how very good idea it was.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Should we do more chairs? Should I bring more chairs out?
Yeah. Why not?
You know, these chairs are also important.
You want these?
Yes, I got several stores and they have donated them.
You guys can have one.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go. We're gonna have some, yeah, because I did it. How to.
Yeah.
Why does it sound
I
like?
won't go to the-
I know, then I like shift it. No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for waiting. So I just wanted to announce that this meeting is being recorded so we can share the information out afterwards. We'll just do a super quick round of introductions. So my name is Sydney Kessler. I'm the Community Engagement Director for Isla Vista Community Services District.
And I'm Carly. I'm the program manager for the Isla Vista Compost Collective.
Me, I'm Viviana Marzano, Director of Civic and Community Engagement for the Division of Student Affairs, and I'm also the Isla Vista Liaison and Senior Advisor to Campus Orgs.
Everybody, I'm Jonathan. I'm the general manager for the Isla Vista Community Services District.
Hi, I'm Catherine Flaherty. I'm senior at IVCSD and I'm also director at the Out Leases Community Services District.
And Sarah, do you want to introduce yourself? Sarah, I'm muted.
Yes, how do you do? I'm Sarah McNeil. I'm the rental housing mediator for the district.
He's on the TV there. Maybe we can.
Yeah, you want to. Maya, do you want to go ahead and go?
Hi, I'm Maya. I am the manager or the program manager of the community center and community room, which you are in now.
Perfect. All right, so we are gonna go quickly over some move out resources that are available. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat and then I'm also gonna share my screen. All right, so I can't see the screen, but I'm assuming everyone can see that. So the move out dates for Isla Vista are June 8th to the 22nd. And so when moving out of IV, it's just really important to keep in mind the environmental impacts that your waste can have on IV. IV is such a small town, so that can be easily overcrowded with furniture and other materials and waste. So we're just asking that you please be mindful and not leave your belongings behind on the street. And so there's a bunch of different methods that you can safely get rid of those items. So I'm going to go over those. First and foremost, just make a plan. During move out in 2020, 702,000 pounds of waste was collected. And that was actually down, obviously, because of the pandemic from 1.2 million pounds in 2019. So something to just keep in mind. Come on in. So something to remember is to not block access to dumpsters with garbage or vehicles. There's a bunch of information on our website about the give sale here, but Viviana is going to go into great detail about that. So I will leave that to her in just a minute. We have compiled a list of where you can donate your belongings. There's a bunch of different thrift stores listed here. Some places where you can sell your belongings like Craigslist, UCSB free and for sale. I personally just bought a brand new mirror on my way to Ivy. So lots of good stuff there where you can try and sell your items. For bulky items, this is something that's really important to go over. So I am going to go over all of it, but starting a week from today and ending on Friday, June 22nd, Marburg will have trash trucks out daily in Isla Vista collecting your bulky items and other discarded materials that you put on the curb, and they'll also be emptying all your trash bins daily rather than just once a week. And there will also be a recycle truck in Isla Vista collecting recyclable materials, and the dates are listed here. And just note that no debris like carpet, lumber, paint, green waste, all of that can't go into those bins. So Marburg will be out here every day except on Father's Day. So what you need to do is you need to put all of your items on the curb line every morning during move out, but don't place items on the curb after 5 o'clock. So just every morning. And we ask that you not block access to the sidewalk so that people can still get around. Marburg will not go down any driveways or onto private property to pick up any items placed next to a dumpster or dumped at the rear end of a property. So there won't be any exceptions with that. And the following materials that are listed here are not accepted at the curb. It's like green waste, again, the construction materials. So we've listed that pretty explicitly. And this is a year-round thing, but any upholstered indoor furniture that's stored on the exterior of any of your structures in IV, that's room for a fine, but that's a year-round, not just during move out. And then we have all of the information listed for your regular trash pickup. If you do experience where you're living, where the dumpster is already really full, you can call Marburg and request them to come out and they will empty it sooner. If you want to donate your non-perishable food items, Carly will talk a bit more about this, but there's the IV community fridge, and then also all of the give sale drop-off sites will have places for you to donate those items, and they'll be taken to the food bank. If you want to get rid of your bike, you can donate it to SD Bike and they will resell it. So that information is here, along with how to dispose of electronic waste, how to dispose of batteries, green waste, hazardous waste. They all have very specific ways that you need to do that. And if you have any questions, Marburg is always available to answer those. There's information on how to get rid of your household medications, different moving companies, move out tips for tenants, which Sarah will go into a bunch more detail about that shortly. And then some important information listed here. So this is available to you. Does anyone have any questions about that? Right. So I'm going to pass it over to Carly.
All right, I'm just going to talk a little bit about sustainability tips for moving out. I just graduated last year, so I moved 4 times in IV, and these were kind of just things that I wish someone told me to do, which is just like start early. I feel like that's the biggest thing you can do to have a more sustainable move out. I think probably a lot of you have around like 2 weeks left, and I think it's like super helpful and less stressful to just get it all kind of squared away week 1. I have these by the front, but I kind of just put some ideas for 2 weeks before move out. You kind of just want to go through your pantry and fridge, donate any items you're not going to be eating the next 2 weeks, or pack it away, and also make a plan for your bigger pieces of furniture, like post it on 3 and for sale if you're trying to sell it. Also figure out where you could store it possibly, where you could donate it, the give sale. And then also just one thing also super helpful is to just go around your house and just gather any of like your belongings from like the common areas, because that stuff just gets kind of forgotten if you start with your room. That is pretty useful. And then also just going to your cleaners and plastic, extra like tin foil and like saran wrap, and kind of just making a plan with that, dividing it among your roommates, and also separating your dishes between your roommates. That usually takes like more time than you think. So it's kind of good to get that out of the way week 1. And then I have week 2, like I have picture this, all your things are packed, and you kind of just have like a suitcase with all the stuff that you need, like your personal care items, and then maybe some food in the fridge and some extra plates you have left over. But it's a really good week to like to make sure you're repairing and cleaning everything in your house, because that also just takes more time than you usually expect, just to get that full security deposit back. I always love to save like my trash cans and mops, even though they like seem like they're super dirty. You don't want to move around. It just saves you a ton of money to just kind of save that stuff and rinse it off before you leave. Some fun ideas my housemates and I did was we would, the last week before everyone moved, we'd do like a frozen food compost party. So like usually everyone's freezers are pretty full. So you just kind of like everyone just makes random freezer food and you go through it. That's fun. And then also like a clothing swap with your friends, like any clothes you don't have or your roommates, And then just some really simple advice is just, I like to just follow the reduce, reuse, recycle when I don't really know what to do with something. Like I just think, how could I, reduce it first, just not get rid of it. That wouldn't be creating waste. reusing is a really great way to do it, which would be like donating and stuff. And then recycling is the third step of importance, I'd say, which is clearly in this case just using the recycling bin. But as many of you know, like the laws have recently changed with recycling. So there's a lot of things you can't recycle, like any cardboard with a waxy finish or any like thin plastic. So it's good to just always check up on that. It's pretty easily accessible if you just look up like Santa Barbara recycling rules, and they'll have the updated guidelines on there. But yeah, that's it for now. Thank you all so much.
Okay. So how many of you have heard of the Give Benefit Sale? You do, because you support us financially. Isla Vista Community Relations Committee has been super generous, you know. So none of you have seen the Give Sale probably, you know, because we haven't had it since 2019. But the sale is 32 years old, 30 if we don't count the 2 years that we, you know, messed with the pandemic. It was started really in this room. I don't know if you know, 32 years ago, a bunch of people exchanging Tupperwares, you know, and now it has become this giant rummage sale that we do in Isla Vista. And I have a partnership with housing. So if any of you lives in housing, they will place, starting next Monday, a big container next to each rest hall or apartment living where you can donate whatever you don't want to take home. And then I move into Embarcadero Hall. We fence the whole parking lot, and we also accept donations. We receive between 40 and 50 tons of donated goods per year. So you can imagine the amount of things that we receive: bicycles, electronics, furniture, clothing, decorations, supplies, bicycles. We sometimes sell 60 bikes in the first hour and a half. So it's crazy, you know, people are waiting outside at 7 a.m. in the morning. We open the gate and people run over us, you know, trying to buy things. So the main idea of this sale was as an environmental project, right? The second idea was to, we request volunteers to help us with that. And I'll speak about that in a minute. And so the idea of volunteering for the community. And the third one is that 100% of the proceeds are donated to Isla Vista nonprofits, like Isla Vista Recreation and Park Districts, the St. George Youth Center, Isla Vista Youth Projects, you know, Isla Vista Recreation and Park. The parents of Isla Vista School can come and volunteer, and they get money to pay for their children's science camp in the 5th and 6th grade. It's the only section that goes to individuals. So how does this work? We collect all the donations, we weigh everything, we test and clean electronics, we sort food in clothing in 62 different categories, you know, like it's an enormous amount of work. So we display, we price, we sell, whatever we don't sell gets donated to the Goodwill. So the Goodwill takes 2 to 3 containers full of things that don't go to the landfill. We donate around 2,000 pounds of food to the food bank. Whatever the food bank cannot take gets donated to Food Not Bombs that cook for the houseless in Isla Vista. And how does this work? I hired around 15 staff. We work 14 hours a day for 2 weeks, and we also get volunteers. We generally get 200 volunteers that are sent by these organizations that are going to receive the money, or people who need community service hours. You know, sometimes you are in the honors program and you need to get community service hours, or you are in fraternity and sorority life and you want to put in hours. So every time you come in, the first day we are going to register you, you are going to sign a waiver of liability. You can choose a different organization every time you come in. It doesn't matter, or you can choose the same one all the time. And the way it works at the end, we let's say that we sell $30,000 and that volunteers have contributed 1,500 hours. So each hour that you volunteer for the sale it would be $20 an hour, let's say, right? So you came and volunteered 20 hours. So at the end of the day, you are donating $400 to the Isla Vista nonprofit of your choice. In 2019, between the volunteers and the paid staff, we worked 3,500 hours in 12 days. So that can tell you the huge need that we have for volunteers. I have flyers here, and if you're going to be in Isla Vista between June 8th and June 17th, we would love to have you come and volunteer. And if you have friends, any questions about the sale? Yes.
What day is the sale?
The sale is the 17th and 18th of June. So every year is the third weekend in June, is the weekend after commencement. Yes.
When do you start accepting donations?
We start next Wednesday. I would say don't come on Wednesday morning because that's when we move in there and, I have tons of things in storage that we need to bring and organize. But if you come in the afternoon, that should be okay. And then besides that Wednesday, from the 9th to the 17th, we accept donations 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
What location?
Embarcadero Hall. Yeah, you will see it. We fence the whole thing, and we ask to be mindful of what you donate. Think about things that you will not buy, don't donate them. One year, somebody donated a dish rack with all the dishes dirty. They had not been washed, So sometimes at the end, people get desperate and we don't want to be the dumpster, of Isla Vista. We want you to be conscious about that. We have great deals. We have a boutique. We get things from Nordstrom's with having been worn, with the price tag. There are a lot of great things, and the money goes to a really good cause.
If we want to volunteer, is there a minimum number of hours to commit to?
We used to say 2 hours because what happens is we do a lot of paperwork to get you in. And then people come and in 15 minutes they leave. So we do have a laptop where you will check in and out every day. We have a spreadsheet and you will say 10 a.m. left at 12 and the work that you are volunteering for that day. So at the end, we have a huge spreadsheet with per organization and per person. And so the sale is, 18th and 19th, Saturday and Sunday. On Monday, we move out. If you want to volunteer to help us move out, be my guest because we need a lot of help. By that Friday, I do a luncheon and every organization receives a check. There are years that an organization raised $10,000. And I have to say, I need to raise tens of thousands of dollars to put on the sale so that we can donate the proceeds. But the main thing is the environmental issue. And we get a lot of co-sponsorships from Isla Vista Community Relations Committee, CAB, Finance Board, IVCSD. I made an ask this year. We'll see, Coastal Fund. So that all the expenses get covered. Yes.
Will there also be trucks that sort of drive around campus collecting donations, or is it only at a?
Yeah, so I have a moving truck, and the truck goes around 12 hours a day collecting things. So we go to each housing building, every day. And as things, the containers get full, so for example, the rest halls, you have to be out by Saturday the 11th at noon. So then we finish there, we keep on with the apartment livings that Monday, but then the last 5 or 6 days, if you have big items in IV that you cannot bring, let's say a bed, a dresser, things like that, we will put a number that you can call and we will come and collect it.
There's a question on Zoom. So
Yes.
I will leave it to Olivia.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I want to clarify something you said earlier. So things that I've seen in the past 2 years is that Marburg brings these big containers and people put stuff in there. In those giant containers that Marburg brings to like apartment complexes, is that going to be brought to the give sale or is that going to the dump?
Those things, unless they are UCSB housing, we don't collect those things from private property. We don't have the capacity. Yeah.
So is Marburg helping at all with bringing donations to the give sale?
No.
No. Okay.
They are super busy themselves, you know, trying to cover everything that Casey has mentioned. They are sponsors of the sale, you know, they give me some products for free, you know, like a huge trash container and things like that. The owners are donors of the sale.
Okay. And two more questions I have. One being the trucks that go around Isla Vista to pick up donations, are they just picking up large donations that like people call and say like, hi, I want to have this picked up, or are they just picking up whatever they see on the side of the streets that people leave out?
You know, it really depends on the load that we have, because, you know, like picking up for 12 buildings from housing, it's quite a chore, right? We go 3-4 times per day to each building. And then if you call us that you have big furniture, we will go and pick it up if there is room in the truck and the truck drivers find something that is not dilapidated, they will bring it and we will try to sell it.
Okay, thank you. And my last question is for volunteers, of course, volunteering at the sale, but what other days can we volunteer?
For the sale, you can volunteer June 8th to June 17th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We sometimes take some volunteers the day of the sale, but if you haven't volunteered the rest of the week, it's really hard because we cannot train people there.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you go, you know, I'm going to send the link. Casey has the link to our webpage and you can get a lot of information from there. We have also posted on Shoreline, you know, all over about recruiting volunteers. And it's fun, you know, people come year after year. I have volunteers who have been coming for 10 years. Also, there is, you know, I have people who are elderly who come, we sit them in a room with electronics, you know, they plug them in, if they work, they clean them, you know, there are chores for all types of interests and all types of people. I don't like to have children, but if they come, you know, we put them tying hangers in packages of 6, you know, they love to clean the bikes. So there is always something for somebody to do. And this year we are very concerned because we have not had the sale for basically 3 years and people like you don't know it, you know, so I don't know if I will get volunteers or not. And you can imagine processing 40 tons of donated goods.
All right, thanks, Viviana. I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to talk about our housing mediation program and tenant rights and responsibilities.
Yes, good evening. Sarah McNeil again of the mediation program. We offer a free mediation service on landlord, tenant, or roommate disputes. mediation is an opportunity to informally work out your issues without having to go to court. It requires both parties to be agreeable to having a mediation, but my experience shows that there are a number of leasing agencies and property managers that do agree to participate in mediation. So biggest issue that probably comes up at move out is the security deposit. And your recourse, if you don't think that you've been treated fairly with the security deposit, if you don't mediate, is essentially to go to small claims court. I encourage you, if you have some kind of a dispute like that, to sign up for mediation. You can do it on the website, drop down under services, and there's a rental mediation housing program. You have the right to have an inspection before you move out. And some of this is detailed on the document that Sydney put up earlier. But you have a right to have an inspection. That means ask the landlord to walk through with you and look for any items of damage that they think they would be deductible from your security deposit. Your obligation is to leave the place broom clean, reasonable wear and tear, or normal wear and tear accepted. Now, that always often causes an argument between the landlord and the tenant. What is reasonable wear and tear? Some landlords feel that putting nails in the wall and leaving holes is reasonable wear and tear. People are going to do it. Other landlords expect you to spackle it. So if you have a chance to have your landlord come in and tell you what they think is deductible from your security deposit, that's a really good idea. It's also a good idea to review your lease and see what the requirements are. Some landlords actually have an agreement in the lease that you will pay a certain amount for professional cleaning. And if you don't want to have be responsible for professional cleaning, if it doesn't say anything in the lease, you need to leave the place quite clean. The countertops and the stove must be clean. The inside of the refrigerator must be clean. Everything vacuumed. So it's important to also take photographs to record what the condition of the place is when you move out. Let me just look for 1 second. Yeah, so those are really the primary responsibilities that move out. If other issues arise, you can still ask the leasing company or the property manager or the landlord to resolve any issue by mediation. They have an obligation to send to you any list of items they've deducted from the rental deposit within 21 days. And it's important to leave a forwarding address so they can mail that statement to you. They have to detail what deductions they've made. They have to provide receipts if they've already paid for it, or reasonable estimates if they plan to pay for something along those lines. And that is really going to be the baseline from which you claim to your landlord if you feel that they've deducted unreasonably. So once again, mediation free. It's confidential. It won't prevent you from going to court if you can't work things out, but it's really a good idea to try to do it instead of having to go through the small claims action, either as a defendant or as a claimant. Have you any questions? Well, tell your friends and family that we have free mediation.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Sarah. All right. Okay.
Okay, I think now we're gonna move it to end the meeting, just to open the floor to any questions and kind of brainstorming. We have 3 questions to kind of pose. One is just what's the hardest part about move out, and then how can we make move out more sustainable, or how can the CSD help? Any programs you guys can think of ways that would help make the hardest part easier, and then also what resources do you think you need to improve move out? Same question, but yeah. Anyone have any thoughts?
I think personally, what we struggled with was finding storage. And I know like, I overheard a girl in the library the other day also calling a bunch of storage places to find storage. So I think that's why a lot of people just leave their like big items out on the streets, because there isn't enough storage in Goleta and the Santa Barbara area to like accommodate these like weird lease gaps that everyone has. I don't know exactly a solution, but I feel like that's one of the big issues that contribute to the environmental waste.
Mhm. I remember having that same problem because they're always full every year at the end.
Yeah.
Something just that I did for advice is like post on free and for sale, and people who are not leaving their lease will sometimes, like I paid someone to let me just keep my belongings in their house, someone that I did not even know, but I trusted. And so yeah, I know that's like last case scenario, but that is an idea. And like last year I saw a bunch of people posting like I have room for storage, like maybe they're subleasing or something like that. Maybe they don't have a subleaser, they have just storage in their house. So that's kind of a creative solution, but I totally hear you. That's a big problem.
One thing they do in Westwood, where UCLA students live, is they have like the move out pods on the sidewalk. And so it's like a safe
Yeah.
container for like the next 3 weeks or something.
Wow.
Anyone else have anything that makes move out really difficult around here?
To echo what they said, like as someone who's graduating, it's kind of different because like I don't need someone to store my things. Like I need someone to take them because I'm not gonna take them when I move, you know? Like for example, I have my mattress and I posted it on Frame for Sale and nobody's bought it. And I don't need the mattress. So I'm just like, what am I gonna do with it? A whole mattress?
You know, now there is an issue with the mattresses. We used to sell mattresses at the sale, but there is a law that you cannot sell mattresses because of the bed bug issues. So maybe that's why people are reluctant, and after COVID, you know, so the last 2 years I had to rent a closed container to put mattresses. And then, you know, when you buy a new mattress, you are paying a fee for that mattress to be taken. I don't think they recycle them, but to the dump or whatever you take them, right? So yeah, that could be the issue with the mattresses.
In like a long-term solution we've kind of thought of for that is just like more kind of furnished housing in IV, like with beds already there.
Yeah, the UCSD mattresses are like really thin, but they're actually really comfortable and they're really easy to clean. If you get landlords to do that too, I don't know if that's
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
and then people want to have to get their own stuff.
Well, it's wasteful too.
I know for like some people in the dorms, like my friends, like moving out is really tough because they have to move out like 10 a.m. Saturday. But like, for example, some of them have finals on Friday. And so it's like a less than 24-hour window, and you have to be able to pack your stuff and be able to either fly with it or somehow like get rid of it all. So like something where they can maybe let them stay longer than just like 24 hours after finals.
That'd be so useful.
Yeah, and that's not just in the dorms also.
Yeah, I
like,
was
it's
going to
also,
say.
there's a whole bunch of leases that end like our lease ends the 11th.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Which is
that's
graduation.
which is graduation.
Yeah.
I think a big problem is those lease gaps too. We have a 9-day lease
Exactly.
gap, and that's the thing with the landlords that can be fixed. I feel like I don't know, that's just not fair to us. We had to scramble to find storage and then to figure out where we're gonna leave our stuff for like a week and a half, and then for us to like make the trip to go home, stay there, and then have to come back and move in. It's a lot.
You know, I had that problem this year with hiring staff for the gift sale. Some of them said, you know, like I I don't have where to live the days of the sale, you know, and some students that I'm closer to, I said, you can stay in my house, I have a second bedroom, but you know, how much do I help with that? You know, one student, it is an issue.
Yeah. And that's definitely something that seems like would be like up to landlords and kind of UCSB housing, just a conversation that could be started.
Mhm.
Has that conversation, do you guys know, has that ever been?
Yeah, well, they
brought
need
up?
to clean the units in between, so there has to be some kind of gap. But
What if they were to like wait maybe 2 weeks and then have?
Oh,
like,
in
an
terms of
end?
extending it, yeah, but it just depends. I think we need to figure out like, how do you start people's new housing? Because
Yeah.
people need to start housing, people need to move out, but there needs to be a cleaning period.
I feel
How do
like
we deal with that?
there's also like rapid rehousing, and I know that during the fall, they had people stay temporarily, so students can just stay during their lease gap and have their
Yeah.
families there.
Yeah,
Then it makes it, like, my hometown is 6 hours away.
yeah.
When I was a freshman, it was very difficult because I had to take all my things 6 hours north and then bring them back down 2 weeks later. Like,
I think UCSB used to have some sort of like interim housing.
Yeah.
yeah.
They used
Now they do have transitional housing, but I don't know if it's
expensive.
for emergency, so
Yeah.
it's expensive. Yeah.
Rebecca's more about,
There's a comment in the chat that says, there's actually a couple, but one of them says, often cleaning supplies are thrown out because they aren't accepted at thrift stores and are hard to sell. I think I counted 20 Swiffers in dumpsters last year.
Wow.
So can people donate cleaning supplies such as half full bottles of Windex, etc., to the give sale?
Yeah, people do, and people buy it. So, you know, like, you would not believe some things that people bring and that people buy. So, you know, it's more work for me, but I won't tell you don't bring it because people buy it.
I think that's the thing too. This year there was 4 new classes on campus that had never been to campus, and they don't know a lot of like the Facebook page.
Yeah.
I know some people that didn't even know it existed. So that's a
for
thing.
sale.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's a thing that like a whole bunch of people don't know about.
yeah. I think this year it would be
Difficult.
it would be hard and a challenge because exactly of what you were saying, you know.
I just have a separate idea related to storage, but I don't know if this has happened before because it sounds slightly familiar, but if unused classrooms where you could like rent out to store things during the interim period of like, you have 2 weeks between your lease, you don't have to pay for a full month of storage locker, and if an empty like classroom, if it isn't gonna be used, that would be really cool.
Well, you know, there is Devereaux.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of storage.
You know, Devereaux used to be a facility for people with disabilities, and the university bought half of it. The storage that I have with everything from the gift sale, which is 3 trucks, moving trucks worth of stuff, is there. I don't know if they do have more, you know, space, but I think that could be a good idea. The issue, yeah, the issue is they are asking me when I'm leaving because they need the space, you know, but I do think that to bring anything like that up right now, it's not a good time because the university is so strapped for staff.
Yeah.
Like furniture services, which generally rent all the chairs for commencement, things like that, they cannot because they have 2 people working. So running something like that will take, you know, some more, but I think it's a wonderful idea to bring up with the basic needs committee and task force, you know. Maybe we can hire some students to run it, you know, and some jobs in the summer.
Anyone else have any ideas off the top of their head that they've thought of?
Yeah, I'll contribute some more.
Yeah, of course.
So another thing, I put one more thing in the chat. And I also put a link to the June temporary housing that UCSB is doing. So they are doing temporary housing, and it's $60 a night. So it's unclear on the website if you like have to commit to being there for the whole like month, or if you can stay there just for like a couple nights. Since they have pricing per night, I'm guessing you can. Since, I mean, this is also like it does make it more difficult for Viviana and everyone else who's running the give sale, but I think people likely don't realize that you can donate things like cleaning supplies and like other random little things that usually get thrown out. So I don't know if that could be like highlighted on the posters that are given out or advertisements and things. That's just a thought. And then the other question that I put in the chat was about mattresses, which I know we already touched on, but I was wondering, last year I did see some Marburg trucks collecting mattresses.
Yes.
Yeah, so is that happening on a regular basis during move out?
They generally do.
Yeah, it'll happen for the 2 weeks that are listed, like June 8th on.
Okay, so people can just put their mattresses out?
Yes.
Yeah, not after 5 in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
How would you guys want to hear about all this stuff? Like, do you want to get a letter in the mail like around now every year? Do you want a flyer on your door? Like, how would you, like when you're thinking about, oh, I want to get rid of my cleaning supplies or whatever, how would you want to get that info to know what to do?
Probably Instagram, right?
I was gonna say. I'm
Honestly,
honestly in digital
everywhere.
like emails, like you can reference it, whereas like a physical flyer in the mails like hard to get. It's like you can easily lose that.
I feel like if there's a way students can just get a text alert, that could also work. 'Cause, like, if I get a text saying you can do this, like, I'm most
Here's the
likely to
move
use
on
it.
page.
Yeah, like I feel like as a senior, I'm just really bombarded with a lot of emails about like surveys and different things like that.
You know, I've been trying to get the university to get text messaging to the students for things like that. It would make my life a lot easier. So far, we haven't gotten through that. We can only send text, which is the police or some emergency. But we have been looking into ways of doing, you know, there is an issue of privacy that, can we have your phone number, you know, but I feel that text is the best thing probably.
Well, like today I found out about this meeting through Instagram.
As an ad.
It was, no, it
Or
wasn't
as a
an ad.
story?
It was an Instagram post from UCSB Thrive.
Okay.
They have reposted your guys' flyer.
Yeah, we also put it on Instagram, yeah.
What I suggest, and I don't know how feasible this is, but if you guys could provide the information to the major like landlords and leasing companies, and then they can send the information to their tenants.
So that's happening today. They just
Yeah.
got a letter today with all
Yeah.
this.
Wonderful.
We'll send it maybe tomorrow, or hopefully soon.
They do it every year and they generally attach a flyer of the gift sale, but Brad Spencer
We put
retired.
We put info about the gift stuff.
Yeah,
We
you
got it
did?
in.
Okay.
Yeah, we got it.
Because I contacted Brad and they gave me another name and the person said, I'm not familiar with this. Okay,
Yeah, we worked it out. I don't know if
Yeah.
Carlisle.
okay.
Yeah, Carlisle's also on the call, but yeah, I sent everything to Carlisle today, including the gift sale, very lengthy.
Okay.
So the landlords will have that.
Yeah, and generally, you know, housing does a meeting with property providers once a quarter. And a lot of this information is given to them. I don't know this year with the pandemic if they did, but I present to them every year. I do think that the landlords, and I feel you can push a little bit, ask your landlords to ask for more dumpsters to remove out, you know, because they start overflowing and it's a mess.
Yeah. Our apartment complex shares a trash can with the other apartment complex.
Oh.
And that gets ugly.
The one next to us is campus housing.
Where do you guys?
We live at the West Winds, which
Oh.
used to be campus housing, but now it's private.
Yeah,
And
oh,
it's next to El Dorado,
Dorado.
which
yes.
is university.
So they share?
Mhm.
Mm. You know, another thing that we noticed the last time we did give in 2019, you know, housing these containers that I tell you, they have the laundry carts and they say clothing, electronics. And then people in town who probably sell secondhand have started coming to these places and they throw everything out when they look for something, and then my drivers go and everything's scattered on the floor. So that doesn't help either, you know?
There's a comment in the chat that Carlisle shared that more dumpsters are limited by space. And that
Yeah,
might be
of
a
course.
demand by cost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Any general trash problems? Waste related, not just move out?
I mean, general trash issues. I know back in the fall, I spoke with Sydney about this a lot. But just in general, all throughout the year, more dumpsters are needed.
Yeah.
On DP especially. But yeah, it's an issue where landlords don't want to spend more money, and there isn't a lot of space on DP.
And the ones on DP should definitely have lids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another.
Well, they're
Yeah,
there. Let's get to it.
I spoke with Marburg about what it would cost for landlords to get rid of those trash containers on DP that are like the circular ones with the removable lid, and instead get dumpsters. And it would actually be like more expensive for the landlords. And they would have to like, there's a lot of like wooden fence boxes on DP that those trash cans are within. So yeah, it's like costlier for landlords, I think, is usually what it comes down to. But yes, I agree with all of this.
Not that you pay little rent to pay for those things.
Yeah, it's literally the landlord. They're the problem.
Well, just to be mindful of time, if anyone has any last things to share, you can either drop it in the chat or share, we can chat after, but Carly wants to get some more moving boxes, so feel free to grab those. And there's Scantrons and blue books and everything on the table, and snacks, and there's yerba in the fridge, so.
And then just make sure to just take one box just for now, just make sure everyone gets at least one here. And then we can take the rest, but we just don't have that many left, so thank you so much.
Is anybody interested in a flyer for all of